Hello, good afternoon. My name is Russell Rhodes, and I'm the author I'm a thriller writer. And currently I have 2 full-length novels and a short story trilogy that's only available online. I currently have the sequel. I've already written the sequel to my debut novel, Pandora, which is a spy novel, which will hopefully be out later on this year if everything goes well. Now, just a little background about my first novel. How can I put it this way? If I were to ask you, where would you all hide if you were to learn that the Centers for Disease Control and a major pharmaceutical company were in collusion to unleash a major hyper-deadly microbe on the human race? Well, that's the premise for this novel right here. So, if you enjoy Robert Ludlum or Michael Crichton, consider it as a matchup. So I'm just going to read an excerpt from the first chapter. Chapter 1. Somewhere near Grozny, Chechnya. The blow to the side of his head dropped Ridley Fox to the floor. The cold surface against the side of his face, the jarring pain and the spin were the last things he remembered before he passed out. When he came to, the throbbing still remained as he was dragged by his legs across the floor, the concrete scraping the back of his scalp. He opened his eyes, only to stare into the barrel of a Russian AK-108 assault rifle that was only less than a foot above his face. His fiancée Jessica had died at the hands of his captors 2 years before, just hours after he had proposed. Unlike her, he knew that these men would torture him. He had promised to give up his career in the Joint Task Force 2, Canada's equivalent to America's Navy SEALs, to settle down with her. After she died, the heavy drinking and bar fights began, which ended shortly with Fox being thrown in jail. That's where he met his current CIA superior, General Paul Downey, and learned everything he needed to know about the weapons consortium, known as the Arms of Ares, his captives. But Fox never shook away that image, as he watched a tangled web of exposed pipes and cheap wire mesh-covered lights bulbs that ran along the ceiling while he was dragged along. One of the guards yelled at him in Russian, and although Fox was fluent in the language, as well as several others, he was too disoriented. His main focus was getting his strength back to overpower his captors. Moments went by, and Fox felt his legs being dropped, just as he succumbed to the blow of a boot kick to his side. The kick was so hard that it forced a loud grunt out of him as the guards yelled profanities at him. Fox blinked rapidly as the pain subsided, taking slow, deep breaths, and waiting for the guard to kick him again. But it didn't come. Above him, he saw a yellowish flash of light that flickered. He then heard footsteps walking away from him. The thundering boom of a slamming metal door was accentuated by its echo in the cold, dry room. "Is that it? Why don't you come back and finish me off?" he yelled. At least that's what Fox wanted them to understand, even though it came out sounding differently. With the exception of the occasional knocking above in the pipes, there was silence. The ceiling above him continued to spin around, and he closed his eyes, but the throbbing to his temples still remained. He thought back to 3 days before, when he was first contacted by a man named Mikhail Sokolov, a scientist working for Ares, who offered him the opportunity to put Ares out of business. The only thing that Fox needed to do in return would help him and his wife defect. It was an offer Fox couldn't refuse. Presently, he was in an underground facility where Ares was developing something that was so deadly that Sokolov didn't even want to mention it in their correspondence. Thank you.